Okay, so I'm going to be doing a review on Marvel's Star Wars Darth Vader. Now, this is one of the first volumes of the Darth Vader comic book from Marvel, now that they're doing their new Marvel Star Wars universe. This is done, of course, by Kieran Gillen and artwork by Salvador Larroca. I gotta say, this is really good. This is probably some of the best stuff, even like some of the Dark Horse stuff. And don't get me wrong, Dark Horse did some really amazing stuff, but I would put this up here with a few other things in there. Now, I know some people are very hit and miss with Jason Aaron's Star Wars, but I think the consecutive across the board is Gillian's Darth Vader is spectacular. It's nothing short of amazing. So, and I gotta agree with him. Kieran Gillen's Darth Vader is nothing short of amazing. It's actually kind of funny because I bought this a while, just yesterday, as of this recording, and it's funny, but I had left it out on the table, and my dad saw it, and my dad's a huge Darth Vader fan, huge Star Wars fan, but the guy never reads comics. He saw this, and I shit you not, was like, "Oh right, Darth Vader." And he proceeded to be like, "Can I read?" He's like, "Can I read this?" And I'm like, "Yeah, you can read this." Now, he already knew that this was part of the new Marvel Star Wars comics, and he was reading it, and I kid you not, he read the whole thing at the breakfast table while my mom and everyone else in the family is trying to talk to him, and he's just like, whatever. And he loved it, and he's actually really excited to read the second volume when it comes out. But what did I think of this comic? I really did like it. From start to get-go, from start to finish, and Gillen knows how to write. Gillen knows how to write Vader. Like all these lines of dialogue with Vader feel like you could almost hear James Earl Jones's voice speak through them. That is how good it is as a comic. It is. He writes it so well, and he knows how to write Vader very well. And it's interesting, too, because with some of the Dark Horse comics, you go back and read it, and it's like, would Vader really say that? Or something of that nature? With Gillen, it's like, wow, he understands Vader and what it's like. He even makes some of the prequel scenes, like, they even have some shots of the prequel scenes in here, and I'm like, huh, that's cool. So the story is that this also takes place during the same events as the Star Wars Jason Aaron Star Wars comics, and in that comic book we have some stuff, and obviously this comic and the Star Wars comic are actually set in between Empire and Empire Strikes Back and A New Hope. So in that 3-year gap, we're learning more about what Vader and the Rebels were up to in that time. And Vader is just coming off the heels of of the Death Star blowing up, and in the first issue he has to answer to Vader. I mean, excuse me, not Vader. Vader has to answer to the Emperor, and trust me, he's not happy. It's really interesting to see the Emperor just like completely blow just blow a gasket over Vader and still be very calm about it. It's actually, there's a very ouch line, like Vader needed some aloe for that burn, or more so than the ones he got on Mustafar. But there's a line in here where the Emperor just grilling him, and the Emperor says, "Oh, you are certainly the chosen one, Vader. Chosen to be the only one responsible." I'm like, ow. Ow. Yeah, so obviously Vader is, in this volume, consolidating his power in secret to overthrow the Emperor, as he intended to in Empire, and, get Luke on his side, as well as discover that, Luke is his son. And we follow this story of Vader, starting out and consolidating his power and getting allies, getting a secret army, and, preparing to overthrow the Emperor and become, the new leader of the Empire. And through this, it's kind of the same thing with the rule of two. There can only be two. One to hold power, one to crave it. And trust me, Vader craves what the Emperor has. There's some Salvador Larroca, real quick. He is spectacular in artwork. My God, there are just some greatly detailed pieces in all of these scenes. I love, actually, the opening scene of Vader on Tatooine, and of course it's a parody of when Luke entered Jabba's palace in Return of the Jedi, but it's just beautiful artwork to see, and again, that opening 2-page spread of, the Emperor, excuse me, why do I keep wanting to say the Emperor? But no, Vader standing before Jabba the Hutt, and surrounded by all of his goons, and he's at the center of Jabba's throne room, and it's a beautiful artwork piece. And again, there's some beautiful artwork in here. But throughout this, we follow Vader and his journey. And actually, let me talk about some of the other characters that show up in this comic. Starting with Dr. Aspra. Aspra in here is a young, very cocky, very arrogant. She's an archaeologist, and she's actually portrayed as like a evil version of Indiana Jones. So think River Song if she crossed that line. That's actually probably the better line. That's actually the better use for it. River Song from Doctor Who, just evil. Because she's very witty, she's very sarcastic. There's also a very hilarious line that is an homage to Indiana Jones, where she gets captured while she's trying to steal this computer chip called the 000 chip that belongs to a very powerful droid. Well, once did. And the curator says, "Look, you weren't supposed to steal this. This belongs in a museum." And she's like, "It belongs in an armory." And I'm like, that has to be an Indiana Jones reference. But no, I like how, Vader is, he's not really mean to her, although he does say some shitty things to her now and then, but, that's just who Vader is. But I do like the chemistry her and Vader have. It's not really chemistry in a romantic sense, but it's more like she knows that this alliance is only going to go as long as she keeps Vader happy. And she actually says, "Look, I've got no problem, I know no one wants to die early, but, ever since I, threw in with you, I could either be killed by the Empire, or, you kill me when the time's right." So, yeah, epic foreshadowing right there, folks. And she even says, "Lightsaber to the back of the neck, please." Just make it quick. When the time comes that you no longer need me or I fail you, I'm screwed. In terms of other supporting characters, I love the two droids in here, 000 and B1, who are, they're obviously an evil version of R2-D2 and C-3PO. One's a protocol droid, the other one's supposed to be a disguised astromech droid. They explain a bit more that it's not real. It's supposed to look like an astromech droid, but it's not. And in here, we learn a bit more about, what they're capable of. And I love just how hilarious 000 is. Like, he's torturing someone, and he's talking to Vader after that. He's like, "I've got good news and bad news." So he tells him the good news, that he knows what the Emperor's plan, what the Emperor has this conspiracy that Vader wants to discover. And then then Vader says, "Good, now kill him." And then, 000 says, "Oh, then I have double the good news." There's also an issue where he decides he's going. Vader, gets Aspra, and they get the two droids, and they head out to Geonosis so Vader can make a new droid army. And the Geonosians after the Clone Wars didn't exactly do too well. From here, we discover that there's a Geonosian queen trying to make a biomechanical Geonosian race out of battle droids and Geonosian DNA. And it's a scene right out of Aliens. Like, seriously, the queen looks like a xenomorph queen, and the eggs, it's like straight out of Alien. I'm pretty goddamn sure that, Gillen and LaRocca were kind of like, we're doing a Darth Vader comic, and let's do all the parodies we can and homages, because they have a lot of love here. They do, and I'm not trying to say every scene is a parody, but, you do see a lot of love in this comic, because there is a lot of original ideas in here. I mean, obviously, what the Emperor's trying to do with some new characters that are introduced that Vader has to deal with that are his replacements, and how they tie in. It's really cool. Like, this is Gillen's stuff right here, of mixing, mysticism with science, in a sense, and really making some pseudoscience. And, of course, Gillen is really good at writing villains, obviously, with his Loki run, as well as he's done some really cool stuff with Mr. Sinister and several other Marvel villains. So he really, when they, when they announced they were doing a Darth Vader comic, Gillen, I'm pretty sure Gillen was at the top of the list, because Gillen writes villains. I'm pretty sure I just made a hashtag. Hashtag Gillen writes villains. But yeah, all in all, this is a really good comic book. I know some people are kind of not too nice to, there are some people who are very half and half on Aaron's Star Wars, especially my good friend Coolio Vids, who had a panel of Han, Chewie, and Leia holding lightsabers, and I was like, that really decreases the love for lightsabers I have. Whatever. I know there's a context for the scene, but I just was not like, oh my god, Han and Leia are holding lightsabers, and so is Chewie. I was like, that seems a tad excessive. But I digress. But if you really want to see some cool Vader action, as well as, some dark overtones, as well as, Vader being portrayed as the almighty badass we know him to be, as well as, some really just great dialogue and great storytelling, and the opening to even more stories and, more doors open through this. So if you're a Star Wars fan or just a Darth Vader fan in general, I highly recommend this comic book. Pick it up. It's definitely worth the price. I was very satisfied with this. You are too. I'm pretty sure you'll be as well. And I cannot wait for the second volume. And I really can't wait for, to collect and trade Vader down. But anyway, so yeah, that's my review. I hope you all enjoyed it. And what did you guys think if you've read it? Did you guys like it? Did you guys hate it? Just comment below, let me know. And once again, I hope you all enjoyed this, and I will see you guys later.